Hey Aries, this is your Aquarius season, February 2024 reading. All information to work with me one-on-one is below, as well as the extended version to this reading, which will come out. Give it about 24 to 40 hours before it comes out on Patreon. And then as we get into Pisces season, I usually will put them out. I started putting them out on YouTube a little bit more, just so you guys get a taste, see what you would be subscribing to for the Patreon, okay? And you can also take a look at some of the months before. All right, so cards already fell out. First card out is the Knight of Pentacles, and then we have the King of Pentacles. Interesting. The Knight of Pentacles is also facing the King, who's looking at his pentacle, right? So there could be no matter where you're at in terms of, and then this Eight of Pentacles out, so it's a lot of money value talk right now. Okay, so if some of you have a lot of respect, value, or investment in maybe working for someone, or you have a mentor of some sort who is perhaps showing you, or you're working for someone that you would want to be like, right? And then something happens where we get disappointed by these people, especially if we put them on pedestals. Now, if you can see everyone as someone who is at your equal level, especially if you work with them, I'm just saying in terms of work, even if you're quote unquote better, bring in this, bring in more money, do this, do that, whatever. That's the way things will get across with you this month. So if you want, I should say, what I mean to say is, if you want things to come across easier this month, that's how you may want to address people, because you're still building something of your own, it looks like. Even if you're not, this is also about how you get to become that next level. What is it that this person, this mentor, this boss, someone that you're inspired by has that you don't have? We start looking on the outside, of course. And some people, some people have some things and aren't always the greatest, right? But then then you'll start to do is notice who they are as a person. Because eventually it comes down to, okay, like, how is it possible that they handle all of this too? So it's a lot of responsibility. There's a lot of money involved if you're looking to grow in that way. And I just dropped a card, so I'm going to grab it. Okay. And it's possible that just recently you were really shown where it is in your life that this is going to take courage. This is going to take strength. Strength and understanding, faith and understanding, right? So we can go even farther with that. So I just want to move things around so I'm more comfortable. And strength is needed because this focus that you have. It looks like you're very determined, you're very focused, but there's still parts of you that, can go back and forth, perhaps. There's still parts of you that have concerns, right? What is it what are your concerns? What do they consist of? And then how do they control decision making or encourage outcome, or one or the other, or both? Where are these things relevant, prevalent in your life that maybe are holding you back, or it's where you've learned to constrict in order to have more in another area. Now you kind of have to make a move here. This Aquarius, this fixed sign, space we're in. How do we make this move? With courage and strength and trust. And maybe that's a conversation you bring up. It's a vulnerable one, but it shows how serious you are, right? Because Aries is known to be a lot of things, and serious is one of them, especially if it's about a topic you're passionate about, something you really know a lot about or believe in, or maybe you just want to be right and that's what you love, or maybe you just want to like show, maybe it's an ego thing, maybe it's a Mars thing, maybe it's just you, right? Maybe it's just you. And a lot of cards just fell out and onto the floor. I don't know if we're going to use them yet, okay? All right. I think we can. Boop, boop. First card. It looks like, so we're going to also talk about Pluto, of course. The shift for Pluto for you, especially if you're an Aries rising, is in from your 10th to 11th. I know this so well because the way my chart set up is like I should be an Aries rising in some areas and I should be a Taurus in other areas. So a lot of my astrology, if it's not, I have to get really like specific and focused with it now, which is the reason why I'm saying it is because it's very much to do with you and what's happening. Because my chart shifts. It's not like a very common general one. There's more complexities in it. So I have an understanding of what this could feel like for some of you. That's what I was trying to say. Okay. So you may be grieving. Some of you may be grieving someone who was like a father figure. I don't know if someone has passed, and I'm sorry if there is, but there's a lot to do with the Saturn rule, right? We're switching Saturn rule from Capricorn to Aquarius in the section of Pluto. There's also a lot in Capricorn right now. So grievance, why does grievance come in the season? So easily, but it hits people so hard. Again, why does it come so easily, but hits people so hard? I can help tell you why. Because Capricorn season, Capricorns have already gotten past that grievance. They're already living amongst death all the time. They just keep going. Most of them, anyway. There's also a greater sense of faith and trust that can come out of grievance, right? There's so many, there's stages to it, of course. And this could be you saying goodbye to a pattern, to something that's been demanding or in control of some of your decisions and what you've been doing and where you've been going, right? And of course, and it's right under the Knight and the King. And of course, you know, that's a change. You may have enjoyed this aspect of yourself. It doesn't have to go anywhere. It's just going to change or take up less space for the time being, in whatever direction you're growing in and going in. And the respectable light that gets shed is how much closer the Chariot has been. These two cards have been like really coming out. It's so interesting. So Virgo and Cancer, their readings may be very important right now, if you want to take a look. However, it's much about purpose. So I was being asked also, like, what do I see for like the future and what's ahead? And a lot of it's about us becoming who we are and being willing, and you'll love this because it's Mars related, right? To go to war with ourselves wherever we are not ourselves. It's so vague, it's so arbitrary, but it's so real. And we're so focused there. If you ever really listen to people, and it's not about like their situation that they're in, it's not about whatever's happening in their life. But if you start to listen to the way, and I even hear it in myself sometimes, so I'm not like, everyone of course has these. If you ever start to listen to the way people interact, how they ask questions, like where they're at in their lives and how they observe things or how they are, who they are, you start to see there's patterns that you can start to acknowledge and see, and a purpose or a lacking of purpose in this specific area, and it starts to get, the light starts to grow bigger around that. And then eventually it becomes direct, and a lot of times our issues, our root causes of things come back to that because we're not honoring something that's very, very real for, you can call it our soul. But, or, I don't want to say but, because I think that's just like automatic sometimes. Or it's, again, feeding you energy in another way. It doesn't have to be like food. It could be food for your soul. We can call it that. You know, it's really this energy that wants to open up another way of, call it life force, where you can put energy somewhere and then feel the pull, and you can feel the shift. You could feel the change occurring. You can feel yourself going towards that. We'll call it a light, because the Hermit is here, and then the Chariot is led by this light. And then all of a sudden it's not as hard, and you get different needs met along the way that you may not have wondered, like they came in such a way that you're like, oh wow, like that came in a way that I wasn't expecting at all. And it's this, I think it's about really this nurturance and this growth of this relationship between what you and the universe have been conspiring and between what you and your truth have been conspiring. And now you need to put more love and attention in it. Maybe more romance, which is the visualization. Maybe a little bit more space, right? To shed light. And you'll notice that things start to then move physically. So this is a very internal, external moment that becomes internal. And then you see it through so that you experience and create something, because there's some need of creating within you. And we haven't had a conversation like this in a while, I feel. Because the beauty about the Aries and Libra axis is that you know shit will get done. You know things will be addressed. You know that if changes have to be made, they can be and will be. But you also know that there's drama, dramatics, unexpected shifts, all of that. There is, because it's the fire and air axis, there's a lot more surprise with those, depending, again, on the area that they subscribe to and thrive in. And Aries is, I'm okay with a challenge. But this is a different one. This one's an all-encompassing, I need your attention. It needs your mental focus and attention. And it's funny because we don't have swords out here. It's just the attention to knowing that when you're working with adding value, working on physical labor, there is emotions involved. There are things that you will have to address with yourself. Things come up when we finally meet our purpose. They always come up anyway, but I think there's a greater importance, that feeling maybe placed upon that a little bit more. And when you can speak to that in a way that is not immature but humble, playful even. And you can be receptive. It's like being an old person who understands the importance of laughter and play in their life. It's that person, right? It's that experience. And that's what maybe is what gets acknowledged. Some of you may have a person in your life who can really give support, courage, time to help process, to feel. There is a and maybe even this like conversation you have right before things like actually come together and change. Because again, this change, once all of this is addressed towards the end of the month, you'll feel change. I have no doubt about that. You may feel more concerned about your future and less about the present, perhaps. Because we're going to enter Pisces season, and that's the realm of your subconscious. For the sun matters, because if you're a sun sign Aries, and if you're a rising sign Aries, most likely you'll have 12th house Pisces. Sorry, I have a knot in my back. So that shift as well will allow things to expand, because it's like it's interesting. It's like you're addressing some of the subconscious issues this month, so that when you come up to next month, there's so much clarity there. I don't feel like you felt this way in a while. Pisces season, I see it being like this almost cleansing moment that gives back to you through maybe ideas and creative energy, through maybe making changes in your life that you've been wanting to make, and finally you feel like you can do it. These are very personal things and work related, career, not just work, but career related. And it's like you have this breakthrough, the Hermit, which relates to Virgo, which is very mental. So it's like the only thing we have here to really go with, but it's like dead center in the middle of the reading, is that your mind needs focus to expand sometimes. Like we need discipline on the mind. Think of meditation, just for an example, or learning something new that needs your focus or else you'll get hurt, like any sport or fighting or archery, whatever it is. You need that focus and you need that perspective and perception, and in order to move in case you get like something's coming towards you, someone's coming towards you, you need your whole body and your mind to be engaged in those moments, in the present tense. So when you find yourself looking towards the future, towards the end of the month, you'll also may feel this push and pull of back to the present. And you may ask yourself, why? What is this? Well, it's just about like that safety, like you're here now, you're not in the future. Like that may make you notice how it makes you feel. Notice what it brings up, where in the body that you feel it, because you're also this is about digesting. And that's why what happens when you can clear up, is that you've digested some things that you've needed to, and maybe have been given a cosmic push. A cosmic push that was lived out by people around you. To experience something new, to experience a change, to experience what it's like to work well with someone, to maybe not have to defend yourself so much. there's this ease, but not without learning, right? That may not be the only way you feel working with this person, but if this is the beginning, maybe here's like, what would you imagine in your future, right? Would you want to lay out some ground rules, some boundaries, and then work through anything that comes up, right? You don't want to wait. We know that now. It's better to kind of address like, hey, like, don't be afraid to do this, even if it feels uncomfortable. And then it gives permission for when in the future certain things like that come up. It will be easier to work it out, which then is alchemizing something, right? That's how we can tell that we have grown. That things can be said and either they'll alchemize regardless. It might be a change in the relationship. It might be the relationship is the same but gets better, which is still a change, but I mean a change, an actual shift in the dynamic of the relationship, right? And this year is a lot about relationships for many of us because of the Aries Libra axis and how you relate to yourself, because this is a very great example in your mind of how mentally you are seeing things. And right now, without your body and without engaging fully in your life, in your reality, then things towards the end of the month when we move into Aquarius placements, where then you can actually see and feel the shifts and the changes. It'll just get easier because addressing if you're feeling like something isn't right is really important, especially if it's with yourself and if you have trusted people around you, which it looks like you do. The way this looks, I'm excited to get into the next part to show you like how I'm seeing and connecting some of these things. This is bringing you to another aspect of your life and seeing why maybe you felt defensive at some points. And it's possible because you couldn't see what others were trying to show you, or even if they were showing you and you have no intention of ever being in like that way. It's about the opening of your mind in a certain way. That's what this looks like. All right, Aries, we'll get into the next part right away. Also get into like, well, is this a love interest as well? Like, is something going to move quickly with someone? It could be a Cancer or I see it more as a Sagittarius. They may want to move quickly with things with you, and it looks like it enhances your ability to see your future. Whether it's good or bad, we'll get into it into the next part. Aries, okay, we'll see you there.